It was a quiet morning in the city. The sun was slowly rising, and the streets were still half asleep. Officer Daniel, a kind and dedicated police officer, was walking his usual patrol route through the downtown area. He enjoyed early mornings. The air was fresh, the roads were peaceful, and he liked watching the city slowly come to life as he turned the corner near the back alley behind a group of tall buildings. He heard a soft, strange sound. It was faint, but enough to make him stop. He listened closely. The sound came again. It was a baby crying. Surprised and a little concerned, Officer Daniel followed the sound. It led him to a row of large green trash bins lined up against a brick wall. He looked around carefully. Then his eyes caught a small bundle lying on the ground near one of the bins. The bundle moved slightly, and the crying became clearer. Officer Daniel rushed over and gently uncovered the blanket. To his shock, he found a newborn baby wrapped in soft cloth, shivering slightly. The baby's tiny face was red from crying, but it looked healthy. There was no one else in sight. A piece of paper was taped to the bin behind the child. It simply said, "Found." Daniel's heart filled with emotion. He had never faced a situation like this before. He picked up the baby carefully, holding it close to keep it warm. The baby stopped crying and looked up at him with big, curious eyes. At that moment, Daniel felt a deep connection. He took out his radio and calmly called for help. "This is Officer Daniel. I found an abandoned infant near 5th and Main Street. I need medical and child services immediately." While he waited, he rocked the baby gently and spoke in a soft voice. "Don't worry, little one. Safe now." A few people walking nearby stopped to see what was happening, but Daniel kept his focus on the child. Soon, an ambulance and a child care worker arrived. They carefully examined the baby and wrapped it in a warmer blanket. The child was safe and in good hands. The child care worker looked at Officer Daniel and smiled. "You may have just saved this baby's life." Daniel nodded, feeling both proud and thoughtful. He wondered who had left the child there and why. Many questions filled his mind, but one thing was clear. The baby now had a chance for a better future. As the ambulance drove away, Daniel stood for a moment in silence. The city was awake now, full of movement and sound.
Ow.
But in that quiet alley, something special had happened. A life had been found, and a new story was about to begin. After the baby was taken to the hospital, Officer Daniel could not stop thinking about the little one. He went back to his station, but his heart was still with the child. He kept wondering who the baby was, where they came from, and why someone would leave such a small child all alone. That evening, Daniel visited the hospital to check on the baby. A kind nurse welcomed him and said the baby's doing well, healthy and strong. She led him to a small room where the newborn lay sleeping peacefully in a soft white blanket. Daniel smiled. The baby looked calm now, far from the cold alley where he was found. "Does the baby have a name?" Daniel asked. "Not yet," the nurse replied. "The doctors just call him Baby Hope for now." Daniel liked that name. It felt right. The baby was full of hope, full of a future yet to be written. News of the discovery had spread across the city. People were touched by the story. Some sent baby clothes, others sent toys, and a few families even showed interest in adopting the child. The city had come together to show love and care for someone they didn't even know. A few days later, a woman from the Child Services office called Daniel. "We're doing our best to find the baby's family," she said. "But so far, no one has come forward. If nothing changes, we'll begin the process of finding a loving home." Daniel listened quietly. He had grown attached to the baby, even though they had only met for a short time. He thought about how life can change in a moment. That baby could have been lost forever, but instead, he was found, cared for, and now loved by so many. At home that night, Daniel looked at a photo of the baby that the nurse had given him. He placed it on his fridge. Maybe one day, he whispered to himself, "I'll see you grow up." Weeks passed, and the baby was placed in a safe foster home. Daniel continued to visit when he could. He brought small gifts, a toy bear, a colorful rattle, and sometimes just his smile. The baby always reached out to him with tiny fingers, as if he remembered the officer who found him. People at the police station called Daniel a hero, but he didn't see himself that way. He believed he had only done what anyone should do: listen, care, and act. In time, a family was chosen to adopt the baby. They promised to give him a life full of love and kindness. Before the final papers were signed, Daniel got one last visit. He held the baby close and whispered, "Be strong, be kind, and always remember, you were never truly alone." The baby giggled and Daniel smiled. It was not an end, but a beautiful new beginning. Let me know if you'd like a part 3 or want a different kind of story next. Absolutely. Here's part 3 of the story, continuing the gentle and heartwarming journey, written in third person, simple English, and free of violent content. Months passed quickly, and the little baby known as Baby Hope had now become a smiling, happy child. His new family gave him the name Noah, which means rest and peace. He had a warm home, loving parents, and a cozy crib filled with soft blankets and toys. His life was calm, filled with laughter, bedtime stories, and gentle lullabies. Officer Daniel still thought of Noah often. Though he didn't see him every day, he kept in touch with the adoptive family. They would send him pictures now and then, Noah's first smile, his first tooth, and even a small video of him taking his first steps. Every time Daniel saw those updates, his heart felt full. One sunny afternoon, Daniel received an invitation. It was for Noah's first birthday. The family wanted him to be there. They said, "You were the first person to hold him. You were part of his story." Daniel was touched. On the day of the party, he picked out a soft stuffed elephant as a gift. He wrapped it neatly and wrote a simple card. To Noah, may your life be filled with love, joy, and kindness. From your friend, Officer Daniel. When he arrived at the party, the house was filled with balloons, laughter, and smiling faces. Noah was sitting in a high chair, wearing a tiny birthday hat. When he saw Daniel, he clapped his hands and let out a cheerful sound, as if he remembered the kind face of the man who once held him close in a cold alley. Daniel walked over and knelt beside him. "Hello, Noah," he said softly. "Look how big you are now." The adoptive parents smiled and thanked Daniel again. "Because of you, our son had a second chance at life," they said. Daniel didn't know what to say at first, just smiled. "It was a moment I'll never forget," he said quietly. That evening, as the sun set, Daniel sat outside on the porch watching the sky turn orange and pink. He felt thankful not just for Noah's happy life, but also for the reminder that small actions can lead to big changes. Sometimes heroes wear uniforms. Sometimes they just show up at the right moment with an open heart and a caring hand. Daniel didn't need praise. He only needed to know that Noah was safe and loved. As he got ready to leave, Daniel looked back one more time. Noah was in his mother's arms, holding the stuffed elephant and waving. That tiny wave said everything. A year ago, Noah was found. He was home. Years went by, and Noah continued to grow. He was now 6 years old, full of energy and curiosity. He loved to read picture books, build tall towers with blocks, and ask lots of questions. His favorite thing in the world was story time before bed. His parents would sit beside him and read, but his favorite story was always the same, the story of how he was found. "Tell me the story again," Noah would say with a big smile. His parents would nod and begin. Once upon a time, a kind police officer named Daniel heard a tiny cry in an alley.
Ow.
Though Noah was still young, he understood that he was special. He knew that someone had once found him and made sure he was safe. He even kept the stuffed elephant from his first birthday on a shelf beside his bed. One weekend, his family planned a visit to the police station. It was a special day when the station invited families to come and learn about what officers do. Noah was excited. He wore a tiny blue cap and carried a drawing he had made. On the paper was a smiling officer holding a baby wrapped in a blanket. When they arrived, the building was busy with children exploring police cars and talking with officers. But Noah only had one person he wanted to see. Officer Daniel. Daniel had also been looking forward to this day. He had kept track of Noah's progress and had even placed one of Noah's early birthday photos in a small frame on his desk. When he saw Noah walk into the room, Daniel's face lit up with a warm smile. "Noah," they called. Noah ran over and gave him a big hug. "I made this for you," he said, handing over the drawing. Daniel looked at it carefully and nodded. "This is the best drawing I've seen all day." Noah's parents stood nearby, smiling with quiet pride. It was a full-circle moment. The child once found in silence was now surrounded by love, light, and laughter. Daniel knelt down beside Noah and said, "You're growing into a strong and kind young man. I'm so proud of you." Noah looked up and said, "When I grow up, I want to be like you. I want to help people too."